And we're back, guys. Welcome back to Outside the Wheel. I am this week's host, Gray.
It's Ricfoci.
It's Jury.
There we go. These are going to be our lovely guests we've got this week. So this week we're going to kind of do racing themed. For those of you guys who don't know, we've got Formula 1 is coming to Miami this weekend. So we're going to kind of keep it towards, because we've got F1 on the wheel.
Yep.
So we're going to kind of, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about like what the race weekend looks like in real life
Right.
Formula 1. And then from a perspective of you guys as racers within the league, some topics we're going to kind of go through, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah, makes sense.
So, yeah, so welcome, obviously, welcome. So we're going to kind of start off with, like, what in the league you guys like about racing and what makes you guys, what are some things you enjoy about racing here in the league now?
Want me to go first?
You got it,
The thing I like about racing the most is how technical it is. You know, you can't really smash buttons. You know what I'm saying? You can't really smash in the brakes or you're going to tip over.
Yep.
You know, it's
You can't
it's
button mash,
yeah,
you can't
yeah,
in fighting.
Like, exactly.
Yeah,
It's
yep.
very
exactly.
technical. And
Yep.
that's the one thing I like about racers. And I'm actually glad that I'm learning because my coach right here is teaching me a lot about
Yeah.
racers. So that's one of the things I like about F1 and MotoGP is how technical it is.
Yeah. All right, cool. And for you, Jerry?
For me, it's like being on the hot seat and like
Yeah.
everybody's around you.
It's
like,
1v1.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a
like
it's a shootout.
yeah, and it's like just being able to race a perfect race,
Yeah.
and you know you did perfect, and everybody was watching feels great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like if I get it perfect in a fighting game against somebody who's not nice, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like when you do a perfect race, first place, whole time, no mistakes, that feels.
It's the sauce.
Oh.
It's great. As a commentator, I also enjoy it.
Yeah, because you're like, man, is he gonna mess up? Like
Exactly.
that's like the best part.
Yeah.
Easy money.
So some of the things I like watching from you guys is it's really cool to see, again, like the technical aspect, like as a real life F1 fan for me, and seeing you guys enjoy it in a different light, because I look at it from one perspective and you guys think about it from an Endgamers perspective.
Right.
True.
And so you guys think about, like, like me talking to you guys about like different things within the game versus real life. There's so many different things that are factors in the game that are very different than real life racing.
Very, very true.
And so it's like one of those things you guys learn.
We're not risking our lives.
You're not risking your lives. You're not putting in like 100 pounds, because I don't know if you realize, but in real life Formula 1 cars, when you go to
insane.
brake, there's no brake assist. Like it's
Right.
straight up, you are using all of your might to push a Formula
Yep.
1 car for braking. These racers lose, like, I mean, last year at Miami, I think they lost like an average of like 5 pounds of water weight. they lost a lot of weight because of sweating last year, how hot it was.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
So for those of you guys who don't know, so I actually work I worked Miami last year. That's why I've got my Miami shirt on this year. I'm a marshal, so I actually work like crashes and stuff like that. So I'm right on. So last year I was on turn 16. This year I'm going to be on turn 5. And we're in full jumpsuits. Like my gear I wear a bright orange fire retardant jumpsuit.
Right. of
I've
course.
got a linen cloth gloves.
Mhm.
That then I have these thick rubber gloves that go over top.
He's
And
sweating.
then I have leather gloves on top of that with a helmet, and I have to wear this
Oh my.
for the duration of the race.
There's no like
And-
insulation where it keeps you cool inside.
No,
of it?
there's no
my
shade. You're outside around the
goodness.
track. So the reason why they do this is obviously the fire retardant suit in case there's a fire.
Right.
There are firefighters at certain turns.
Of course. Yeah.
But like if there's a turn like where I'm at, there might not be a fire truck like right there.
Right.
makes sense.
I still have like a fire can, like a fire extinguisher
yeah.
to put out a fire. But those big rubber gloves. So when you guys are playing the game, you guys know the bar bottom where it says ERS or DRS.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the cars in real life are electrified. And so it literally runs like, I can't even tell you how much power, but it's enough. Like if you touch it with your bare hands, you die, because your body, that much electricity gets put through your body into the ground.
Mm.
So we have to wear these rubber gloves to insulate ourselves.
Wow.
So that's like a cool thing. So
Wait, how did you get involved in that?
yeah, so
Like-
let's backtrack. So I do a lot of stuff here at Dominion Raceway.
Oh,
On the
got it.
weekends as like a photographer for fun.
Nice.
And then I've also got a little bit involved in marshalling. And then my dad and I started getting into marshalling, and he found out that they all the marshals in all the races you see around the world are all volunteers.
wow.
So it's all volunteer basis for like, okay, we do marshalling here. Let's go see if we can get into Miami. And last year I got in. And the cool part about it, when you become a marshal, you actually get a free ticket.
Oh, nice.
So,
okay, that's dope.
So I
That's
got
dope.
in, and actually my dad didn't get accepted, but I did. So I'm like, hey, look, here's my present to you. Like, here's my
Take it.
like here's your ticket for the whole weekend.
Man.
Because he hadn't been to a race since like the 70s when he was in England.
Oh wow.
So he hadn't been to a race in a long time. So he had a lot of fun in Miami. And I worked my butt off. Worked my butt off.
He's gonna enjoy
And
it.
yeah, we got to bleep down there, Lewis. Sorry about that. Just for the first couple minutes.
Right.
but it was a lot of fun. And then pretty much once you do it once, it's very easy to be on the list to come back again.
It makes sense.
And
'Cause
so
you're showing
like,
you're like you know how to do it. And things like that.
you know how to do it, and it's also like exactly you know how to do it. You know you're reliable. Like if you have someone who's new to sign up, they might have something come up and then they cancel,
Right.
and now you're down another volunteer.
Right.
So it's one of those aspects of it that once you're there and you're able to, because then a lot of the same people that run the volunteers do the same as Circuit of America, which is COTA in Texas, which is a MotoGP track and a Formula One track.
Right.
And then some of them even do like Montreal, and I think some of them do Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
So they go
nice.
like race like back to back to back for some of these guys.
I
As
mean-
far as like all the you guys don't realize how many months of preparation. Like I signed up as a volunteer in December, so like it's like a 5-month process of like everything.
Man.
Wow.
But it's a lot of fun. So like we'll go through. Let's kind of break through like a race weekend for you guys like,
Right.
who don't really know like what a race weekend looks
Mhm.
like. So obviously the drivers get to the track. So how a race weekend works is all the equipment for the teams generally arrive like the week before.
Makes sense.
It depends on the track. Like here in the U.S., they tend to get here a week or two before, and they send it. Most of the longer term stuff, like the chassis like that,
right.
come on a shipping container, and they'll
Okay.
come like 1 or 2 weeks before the race.
I was gonna ask you like how are the cars? being
Yeah, right.
imported?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
that's-
some of the stuff, some like their like housing area, like they're basically oversized RVs. They come on shipping containers like a couple weeks
Oh,
before,
that makes sense.
and they'll be here for a lot of the North America races. And then like the chassis, like the main part of the body that's not going to change, that also gets sent on a shipping container.
Okay.
And then after that, like the aero packages, like the front wing, the rear wing,
like
the,
everything.
the bore, all the aero stuff.
Is that sent like
and-
plane? Like,
Yeah,
okay,
they'll
okay,
send it via
yeah,
plane.
yeah.
They get they get allocated a certain amount of space on a plane. They can if a team's got more money, they can send more stuff.
Right,
obviously.
of course.
So there's a money aspect to it as well. And also you could send more personnel, but you can only have so many people in the pit and also on the pit wall is what it's called.
Right.
So you can only have so many personnel. So
So
they,
usually like what pit teams like 10? 10 people?
there's let's see, you have 2 people per tire.
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, 2 people per tire.
per tire
Oh, that's
because you
already-
have
Yeah.
you have the
Already 8.
you have the wheel gun, and then you have the wheel itself, and then there's 2 people in the front, 2 people in the rear, because the 2 people in the front and 2 people in the rear are the ones that jack up the car.
Okay.
And if one jack is messed up,
then
they'll step out of the way, and the other one will come through and jack it up.
okay, makes sense.
So
Wow.
so
That's
what's
already
that?
10.
So
That's already 10 people right
so
there. 2 per tire.
4. That's
That's 8.
It's I think it's 12 then.
Okay.
I think that sounds about right.
Okay.
12 to 15. I think it's somewhere in that number.
Okay. That would make sense to swap people
Yes.
out anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. It's somewhere in that range, and that's also for both teams, like or both drivers on the team as well.
See, I find racing fascinating. Like
Yeah.
it's just like
Yep.
the team. Like you think about only the driver, but then you're like, man,
It's
if you don't have a good pit team, like
No facts.
Thing about most of these teams, and we'll get back to the race weekend in a second, but most of these teams have hundreds of employees.
right.
So you only see a very small fraction of the team at the race weekend, but a lot
Yeah.
of teams also have people back at the factory at their like home location.
right.
So like we'll use the example of Mercedes.
Yeah, of course.
Their one's in London, or not in London, but it's in Northern England.
Mm-hmm.
So like they could have a race weekend. The car data could be going to all the way to England. They could be checking all of the engine systems and then relaying that data back to the pit wall
Right. So
wherever the race is
would
at.
that be like more so like your engineer on site? Like
Yeah, you'll have engineers,
okay,
exactly.
okay,
You'll
yeah,
have like
yeah.
a race engineer. So when you listen to the radio messages in actual Formula One races, it's always the same people talking to specific drivers.
Mm,
So in the case of Lewis Hamilton, it's Peter Bono. I can't remember. He's like the most
right,
well known.
right.
Like if you ever hear the term like it's hammer time, he's the one who came up with that term for Lewis Hamilton. Hey, look, this is like you really need to push it. Like this is do or die.
Yeah, right.
basically.
If you don't go all the way, like,
That's
we're
when
done.
when he says it's hammer time. That's like it's do or die basically there.
we
um,
should start doing that with our team.
So what's some of the? So I know you say you're a marshal.
Yep.
Is there any other position that you would love to experience?
Mm.
Oh,
F1?
as like a volunteer,
Yeah.
love to be a photographer.
Oh,
I would
be cool.
love to do a photography. Like
Now, how close are they? I know you said you're on
They're-
lane
they're-
5, so you're
so the
pretty dang
marshal.
close.
So when you guys watch it, I encourage you guys to watch the race this weekend. It's
Right.
I think it's like a 2:30 or 3:30 start time.
I'm gonna be like, hey,
You can't.
Yes, I am.
You're 16. You can actually see the
that's
marshals.
right.
So what's funny is I went back and I watched last year's race,
Right.
and I was watching turn 1, and I'm like, or not turn 1. I was watching the first lap,
Right.
and one of the camera angles, I'm like, I could see myself.
That's cool.
I was
That's
like,
cool.
where I'm at this year on turn 5, I almost how the camera angle was positioned, you probably
Mm.
won't see me.
Right.
But last year, where I was at on turn 16,
perfect shot.
it goes into a long straightaway. You know, like the back straight on Miami where it's really long straightaway.
Right. Yeah. That's
that's-
really long straight.
But you know, like before that, where it goes
Does it-
uphill, and it's that super left hand 90.
Oh, wait. So is it when you go up the hill,
Yep.
left turn, right turn?
Yes.
And then the
Exactly.
Back. Okay. Yeah.
So
yeah.
on that left turn, right turn, I'm right there.
Oh, that's a
I-
fun spot.
It was really cool to actually watch the cars there because they're really low speed in that area.
Yeah. What are they going around that?
So
like,
around
20?
they're probably going about 60 miles an hour in that turn.
Slow.
That's a slow turn. They're going about 60 miles an hour in that turn.
Top speed is what 3.
So the fastest ever speed reached in a Formula One car is it's 250 some odd miles.
I was way off.
It
I was
actually,
gonna
it's
go
funny enough.
216.
It's your favorite track. It was set at Baku in 2016.
Baku.
So
Wait, how? It's so narrow.
it's so that long straightaway that's on.
Okay.
It's actually one of the longest straightaways on the circuit. So that's why I was able to reach that
He
speed.
topped out.
Okay.
Who was it?
Valtteri Bottas actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This was back when he raced for
Not Max
Williams.
Verstappen.
No, this was back in like 2016. So this is like when he was racing when Bottas was racing for Williams.
Oh.
But yeah,
Wait. I thought Williams sucked.
so it
But
this
clearly
shows
they
your
don't
this
suck
shows
in
so
F1, trust me.
Williams.
Now I swear they suck now. 'cause
So
I
they do.
swear.
So they are more of
swear.
a bottom team the last couple of years.
Okay.
But
okay.
it comes down to money and like pedigree. So
Right.
Williams actually used to have some of the highest pedigree in Formula One. As far as like you also associate like Ferrari being like a top team.
Right.
Williams used to be like that.
Dang.
They used to be a really really good team, but this was like in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And then in the late 2000s, like they changed ownership and some things have changed around. They're getting better. They are
Okay.
starting to really work on and get better.
I was about to say because like like when you're just picking teams, because I was like, what, let me just pick a random team. I picked William. Like, let's see how they do. I spawned a dead back. I'm
Yeah.
like, what just
Yeah.
happened?
So I'll get into actually why you spawned where you guys were at during the game as well.
Place-wise,
It-
depending on what they
it's qualified- what they qualified, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Before
yeah.
the
Yep.
race.
So yeah, we'll go. Let's break into race weekend. So like I said, a couple weeks
Right.
beforehand, a bunch of gear arrives, and then they would be arriving at the track probably yesterday or today.
Mhm.
Today's Monday. Yeah. So what they're doing now is they're getting all of their car stuff in the pits built, getting all their pits set
Right.
up, getting it all finished, and then the drivers realistically their week starts like today and tomorrow.
Mm.
Tomorrow for them is going to be a lot of media day, and Thursday is going to be media day.
Oh, so it's
So
like,
they'll-
like a UFC event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what's funny? Lockdown made the exact same analogy yesterday.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it's a UFC, so they're going to do like a media day. They're going to talk
Right.
about the race. How are they feeling about the race? How do they feel about last week's race?
Right.
Car performance, all these kind of different things.
Wait, so qualifying, is it the day before?
The race, exactly.
Okay,
So,
the day before.
And are they
okay,
using
okay.
the same car?
Yeah, so we'll break
But they,
into
I
that.
think they
yes.
can change.
Yes, so
Yeah,
I'll break
yeah,
into
they-
the details of how all that stuff
Well,
works.
I
Right.
know that what I realized is that how easy it is for them to take off like the front week and
Yeah.
put them back
It's
on
two.
like a Lego
It's
piece.
actually.
Wild.
It's like
It's
a
two.
Lego piece.
It's two
literally.
bolts. It's
Two
just.
bolts?
It's two bolts. Is all it is.
I just-
And it's plastic though, like a
No,
fiber.
it's fiberglass. Or
Fiberglass.
not
That
fiberglass.
makes-
Carbon fiber.
that
They're
makes
carbon
sense.
fiber.
Carbon fiber.
makes
Okay,
sense.
that's
Yeah,
what I was
that's why
thinking.
they're so fragile.
Yeah,
That
right.
makes sense why
Um,
when you tap a wall. it's-
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So on Thursday is media day, and what a lot of times, like last year, they did was they did a lot of like the certain teams. They're allocated certain media days where they can drive on the track with like. Last year, Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo did a media day where they drove McLaren around the track.
Wait, like just like a McLaren?
Yeah, they drove a McLaren 720.
Okay, yeah.
They drove
yeah.
McLaren 720 around the track, and they did like it was like a goofy like video.
They
for-
they have a mode like that in F1 now.
Yes.
Did that come out because of that?
So they'll do an F1 media day. Like the teams can pick certain days.
Mhm.
They're only allowed to do so many because they technically get an advantage because they get to drive around the
Oh.
track
I
and
was
get
gonna
feel
say
it
pick
out.
up some pointers. And
So
stuff
they're
like
only
that.
allowed to
Right.
do it like so many. They're only I think allowed like one or two media days on a track. So they strategically pick it very much. So we'll see this year. You'll probably see like another team like Mercedes will probably do it because they didn't do one last year at Miami. But then like you'll also, oh my God,
What?
I might see a Project One in Miami. Do
Wait.
you know what McLaren Project One is? Or not McLaren,
Is
Mercedes Project
is
One.
it one of the new
It's-
cars with the weird wheels like the
The rear wing is. I'll have to make sure Lewis puts in a picture of what a
right?
what a Mercedes Project One is.
One.
So as a media day, they might drive that around the track. That'd be a
Oh.
really cool day. All right, we'll go back to topic. Sorry,
Right, right, right.
I have a quick
railroaded that
question.
one. Yes.
So, I've been to a couple of drag races
Yep.
myself,
Mhm.
and you realize that how sticky the
Mm.
Tire
racetrack is.
Yep.
How I know from where they start, they screech their tires
Yep.
before they go, warm up the tires, and afterwards, everybody will go out and step on the track to like. see
Yeah.
how
it's not that sticky. That's called a prepped track, and there's
Oh,
not
okay.
that kind of
makes sense.
prep
That makes
done
sense.
on
That
it.
makes
I've always wondered.
I can when we talk about the different types of racetracks, I'll actually explain.
Wait,
that too.
so that would make sense. Okay,
So
okay, okay.
yeah, so once we go to Friday, So basically, Wednesday, Thursday's media day. Friday is going to be practice session. So you get practice session 1 and 2
Right.
in the morning and afternoon. And the practice sessions give them an hour of each practice session.
Oh,
And
okay.
what it does is they can adjust all their aerodynamics, like you guys were talking about.
Right.
It allows them to dial in their aerodynamic kits that they've got on the car, whether they've brought in new parts and they like the old or the new on the track. They're going to do engine tunes and how the engine performs, and then they're going to do all kinds of different tests.
Right.
What the other thing you'll see them do is there's 3 different tire compounds. You've got soft, medium, hard.
Yeah, I did see that. It depends on
Yes.
temperature. It's very
Right.
important.
Well,
I use
so
recommended settings on
there's
F1.
That too. I'm
the
a bot.
Pirelli is a tire manufacturer, and there's 5 different tire compounds
Okay.
in a season, and they can range. You'll be like, let's say it goes by C1 to C5 is how they go, how they're labeled,
Right.
and they'll pick 3 compounds for the weekend. So it could be C1, C2, and C3.
And is that based
Oh.
off like thickness or width?
It's actually what the tires are made of.
That makes sense.
So if
okay.
it's a C1, it might be a really soft tire that's gonna break up super easily,
right.
and those are what we consider a soft tire.
Would that be good for cold tracks, right?
So soft. So there's a lot of factors going into like picking a
Right.
tire. So
Mhm.
generally soft tires, let's say for Miami, I think there's 70. I think there's like 67 laps or something like that in Miami. And so in that time span, a soft tire might be only good for 10 laps.
That would make sense. I mean, plus it's hot there.
It's a hot,
Right.
well, it's a
Yeah,
hot
it's hot
track,
there.
so their tires are gonna what we call degrade faster.
Yeah, it
They're
makes
gonna start
sense.
beating, and they get like if you look at the tires actually in the game, they're really shiny at the start.
Mhm.
That means they're new, and then once you start using them, they're gonna get kind of more opaque.
Worn,
Right.
yeah,
They're gonna get
worn out.
more worn exactly,
Mhm.
and they're not as useful. There's a useful window that's in there on the tires.
Right.
And so then you have a medium tire, which will last. I'm just gonna keep to the Miami example. Let's say it might last 20 laps,
Right.
and then a hard tire, which is the slowest of the tires. Medium's the second fastest. Hard's gonna be the slowest tire, but that might actually, like Baku, we had 2 drivers that lasted 50 laps.
50.
That was more of an extreme example. There was kind of some advantage. There's some factors that played into it.
Were they really just trying to get like as much time on the track
Yes,
as they could
exactly.
without going to the pit? That
Yes.
makes sense.
And is there like a robot type of software inside the tires where they like, okay, yeah, you guys gotta come in and change the
So
tires?
no,
Oh, like something
so,
to read
like
it.
a trigger, like a
no. So
what
there's
if your tire
not.
goes flat in your car.
Right,
type
right.
shit?
So the only kind of sensors they have in the tires are temperature and air pressure are the only 2
that would
sensors
make
that
a
are
ton
in
of
there.
sense.
But
Right.
air pressure is not going to really determine how worn the factory
Right.
tire is. The temperature is only to maintain, hey, look how sticky it is. The driver will know when
You can feel it.
the driver and the engineer will know when the tire is going off because engineers can physically see the tire and they can see how like if it's got like a bald spot or something like that on there. And the driver, it'll feel off to them and it'll start to not grip as good. So like they go to brake and they slide more or their back end skids a little bit more. That might be a factor why the tire could go off.
Right.
That makes sense.
Or if they brake too hard and their tires lock up and the wheels start going straight on a track, they've now got a bald spot, and that can affect the tire. So there's all
Yeah.
these different factors when they're actually racing. So
50 laps. I mean,
well, I think Miami's 67. I think 57
that's
is
a
Every time I
ton.
think about
So
flat
it's-
tires
it's
and tires
done-
being ripped apart, I think of that part of Flightly McQueen when
I knew you were going to say cars. I
Uh,
could feel
he,
it.
like,
yeah.
finished
So
the
that
race with
that's
his tongue
happened
out.
in several races. Like the tires, there was a race a couple years ago, Silverstone, where Lewis Hamilton was driving, and literally like they were racing, and the tire started degrading like in the middle of the lap, and by the end of the lap, literally he had like almost no material, and this was like the last lap of the race, by the way. He couldn't pit because if he. And so it was this really cool, but basically Max Verstappen was coming up behind him, but he had like
Shoved him.
Max had like a 45-second gap to Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton was that far ahead. And so Lewis Hamilton is limping around on 3 tires from the track, crosses the finish line as Max is about to catch him. Like if it was 1 lap earlier, Max would have caught him.
Do you know how scary it is to be driving in a car like that with 3 wheels, bro?
Oh, it's
like,
crazy.
I couldn't even
It's-
imagine. Like
yeah.
my anxiety will be through the roof.
I hope. Do
bro.
you guys also know like how much an F1 car costs?
Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay. Wait. I think I know this one.
Estimate guess?
Yeah. Hold on.
Estimate,
alright.
You
Estimate
go
guess.
first.
Okay, so my estimate guess is 5.5 mil.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not certain though.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna guess 16 mil.
So the teams have 160 million per season.
How
Well,
much?
that's
How much the
cap.
car? How
That's
much?
the-
How much the
that's the
car? How
cap
much the
though,
car?
right?
We're talking
That's
about
the cap.
car.
So that 160 is for the whole season.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you're probably closer. It's probably closer to 15 to 20 million.
Okay.
They are because a lot of the carbon fiber, all the development and everything.
I mean, the engine
Yep,
alone.
exactly. The engine alone. So there's other
What-
factors in there.
Does the engine... My guess is they would probably use aluminum because it's
No,
really light. What are they made out of?
they're made out of they're magnesium titanium alloy.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's super
Yeah.
technical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Yeah,
I-
you're getting most of it. A lot of the stuff's like titanium. Magnesium blocks are super lightweight, but they're also
durable.
They're durable, but a lot of times as well, magnesium if it catches on fire, they're gonna go up.
Ooh,
So that's another.
that actually
factor
explains
there.
a lot.
So like older car engines, if like as a firefighter you go work on an older car engine
Mhm.
and it's made out of magnesium,
right.
and we put water on it, it literally creates huge sparks, a huge amount of sparks. It literally can
Sheesh.
explode. Yeah. So yeah, going back to a race weekend. So after you got the practice session Friday and Saturday,
Mhm.
you have the third practice session Saturday morning.
Okay.
And basically that's the teams dialing the last of their car. They're also one of the things they'll do is they'll test in different fuel loads because in Formula 1 there's no refueling. So when they start the race
Mhm.
at lap 1, they don't ever refuel. So they've got to test the car under different fuel loads to see how it feels. So they're going to
Got
test it like when they're like doing like some of the practice sessions, they'll test it under a super low fuel load and a super high fuel load because that's a lot of weight.
right.
They've
Yeah.
got they've got to factor in.
Wait.
That's even crazy.
Wait.
Like,
Get. I want you to guess how many gallons do you think are in the tank? That I have.
how many?
I don't remember the
I
exact
have a-
gallon. I don't
Okay,
remember.
okay,
But
okay.
it's actually done by weight.
Oh, it's just weight.
There's 75
So-
kilograms of fuel.
So they even like put in
Are-
fuel.
No, there's not even. You have to. They have to take off the whole engine cover, and it's done like through a they don't even show it on camera.
Okay.
Right. that
It's
makes sense,
all
that makes
done
sense.
like they have proprietary ways to fill. So like you talk about the fuel. So one of the things like
Right.
for the fuel is, do you know what ethanol content in fuel is? Like you go to the gas station, you,
Sucks.
like it sucks if your car's not specifically set up for it.
Right.
So one of the goals for like Formula 1 is to have like a certain amount of clean energy, and
got it, got it.
fuel is really clean burning.
Mm.
So their goal is to have a certain amount of ethanol. So the teams at the end of the weekend have to have, at the end of a race, they have to actually have enough fuel left in the car to test it, which is like they need like half a gallon of fuel.
Okay. To make it around one lap, really?
No, they need half a gallon of fuel for the stewards to test the gas to make sure it's
Okay.
legal.
Okay.
And there was an incident last year. One of the drivers didn't have enough fuel in the car at the very end, and his car was he was disqualified. He was disqualified from the race. Or actually, I think he was given a penalty. I think is what it was.
I take penalty.
Yeah. Well, not if you go from being in the points, which is the top 10 positions,
Right.
and you have a 5-second penalty, which takes you down to like P14. You lose your
Ooh,
points.
Right, because everybody's so good at that
It's
level.
there's a lot of there's very little
Right.
delta.
Will that affect your placement when you start?
Yes.
Okay.
No. At this point, this is after the race.
This
so
is the winners. I
yeah,
guess.
exactly.
Right.
This would affect like how many points you get in the race.
Gotcha.
Dang.
So after the 3 practice sessions, you go into Saturday or Saturday qualifying, which is
Right.
basically 3 separate mini sessions. And so the idea is, since there's 20 drivers on the grid,
Right.
and you talked about you just talked about your placement for the game. This is how
Right,
this is how it affects it. So what happens is they're going to go into Q1, which is going to be which is 15 minutes, and it's all 20 drivers are on the track. And what they have to do is they have to set the fastest single lap time.
Makes sense.
So
I wouldn't mind having that in the league. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
honestly, that was something we talked about. I do want to add but
Right.
that's one of those things. It adds time.
Mm.
Because it's
Yeah,
hard to qualify.
yeah.
You can in the game you can actually do a qualifying lap and skip the rest of the session.
Right.
So
yeah. That's how I set it up when we want to practice.
Yeah, which is really cool. So you do the qualifying section. So the first 15 minutes is Q1,
Mhm.
and the slowest 5 drivers get eliminated. And let's say it's Alex Albon, for example. If he ends in P17, he
Right.
doesn't move on to Q2, and that's where he's going to start on the races. P17.
Oh, got it. So not like eliminated, not can't compete. Could you imagine?
No,
Like you
no,
get
no.
there and you're like, dude, go faster next time.
Yeah, exactly. That did used to happen in the 60s and 70s when they were starting Formula 1. Like if your car did not drive fast enough, this is also when
Oh,
anyone
okay.
could enter. This is back in the day
Oh.
where if you had money, you could build a cheap car and
And
race.
just go.
So explain to me how teams work on F1.
Let's break it out. We'll do
Alright,
qualifying and we'll kind of break into a
Right,
team
right, right.
dynamic as well. So then you're gonna go into qualifying 2, which is the fastest 15, and then
Right.
the bottom 5, the slowest 5 of that group, leaving you with the
Shoved.
10 fastest.
Mhm.
And then the 10 fastest, again, you're going to do a single fast time. And the other thing they're doing, so this is where the tire compounds come into factor. During qualifying sessions, And so one of the biggest things like during a race is you only have a certain amount of tires. You're not going to want to use all of your soft tires for qualifying. You've got to use like a medium. Yeah, it's all these different factors that are in this. So generally the teams, when they are going for Q3, will have a set of soft tires because they're going to set the fastest single lap time.
Because it's the most tacky.
It's it's the stickiest tire,
Right.
but it degrades quickly, so it's really good for only like a couple laps.
Like just quick.
Yeah, a couple
Just
quick
crank
laps.
it out.
Exactly. So what'll happen a lot of times, they're going to do they're going to go out on the track. They're going to do what's called a push lap, which basically gets tire temperature in there.
Okay.
And then they're going to do a timed lap, and then they'll cool down their tires again, and then they'll do one more push lap. That's like a general idea of like, especially going into
like
Q3.
how they do it.
Yeah. So like for a good example, this year Ferrari's been really good at doing single lap times. So that's why like if you go look at like the most recent like couple qualifying sessions,
Right.
Charles Leclerc has been on the top of it.
Hmm.
But his car over a whole race distance
Doesn't
is
hold up.
slower than the Red Bull, which is why the Red Bull's been winning.
Right.
So it's like there's these different factors you get with these cars, but also different tracks suit different cars better.
Right.
With,
yeah. True.
with Mercedes, they're really good in a race like Miami, where there's a lot more high-speed turns than you would with Baku, where there's a lot more technical stuff, and it's a lot more tighter, low-speed turns.
Right.
So there's like different also turn speeds that also can factor like how it suits these different cars. But also you get you were talking about like engines. You would ask me about engines as well.
Right.
There's also only 4 engine manufacturers that are out there.
Really?
So
That's it?
Mercedes is one engine manufacturer.
Wait, let me guess one.
Okay.
Is McLaren there?
McLaren actually gets their engines from Mercedes.
Dang it.
Yep. So you have McLaren, Williams, and Mercedes, and Aston Martin all use the Mercedes engine.
Even Aston Martin, really?
Yes, they do.
Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo uses the Red Bull engine.
Man. Okay, wait.
Well, I'm sorry. Alfa Romeo. I'm sorry. No, I said that's wrong. Alfa Romeo actually uses the Ferrari. They use the Ferrari engine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they use the Ferrari.
Wait,
engine.
aren't they bought out by them?
No, that's going to be Alfa Romeo is going to change over 2026 into.
Yeah,
It's not Audi. Audi didn't buy it. No, it is Audi.
Oh, Audi bought
it.
it.
Will. Yeah, it's gonna. Did the Audi deal go through? Now I'm sitting here questioning that because Audi was in talks to buy a team.
Oh, okay. I could actually see that they're in like
they're in a lot of other series.
Yeah, they're in a lot of other stuff.
WC like World Endurance Championship. They're in that one.
Like Le Mans. Do they?
Le Mans. That's the World Endurance
Championship.
Championship. That's exactly what that is. Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting here like I can't remember who. One of the teams. It was. Alfa Romeo. They were bought out, but I can't remember the other team. I can't remember who bought them out.
Right.
So the people that are there, Mercedes.
Yep.
Ferrari, right?
Yep. They're an engine manufacturer.
Okay, that makes
There's
sense.
only 4, so we got 2.
Okay, two more.
One of them's gonna surprise you.
One of them's
Ferrari.
One of them will surprise you. Yep.
Volkswagen. It's like, no,
so Volkswagen is actually was in talks to. That's why Audi was talking about joining because they were going to be in 2026. The car engine's changing,
right?
And so they were in talks of joining
Dude,
buying Alfa Romeo because they were going to be an engine manufacturer.
Wow.
So you've got you also have Alpine. They make their own engine because they're Renault.
They're a blue car, right?
Yes, they're the blue car. Yep,
that's all I got.
They're French. They're a
French,
French-based team. Their engine's Renault, which is a French car company.
Yo, we know Renault because when we played Forza, that was the car that
exactly.
you picked. Yeah.
It's the same engine. Same engine company owns Alpine. They just have a title change because of sponsorship and stuff like that.
Makes sense.
And then the other one is Honda. Well, actually,
dang it!
It's actually Red Bull. It's Red Bull Power Supply now, but it used to be known as Honda Power Units.
I'm giving it to Honda.
Honda.
Yep. Yeah. So Honda Power Units.
Hey, that's why they're winning.
So those are engine manufacturers for your cars.
I should have guessed Honda. The one that
I was thinking like Fiat for some reason. Like,
well, Ferrari owns Fiat. Right?
What's all GM technically?
Wait. What is Ferrari? Ferrari owns one company, right? Like I'm thinking
Ferrari's their standalone now.
Dang it. Okay.
The Fiat actually they're owned by Fiat.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Fiat. They're owned by Fiat.
Did you guys ever watch Ford versus Ferrari?
I actually rewatched it last night.
It's so good.
Ford GT, right?
Have you seen that movie?
I have not seen.
Oh, it's about the Ford GT. It's about the Ford GT.
I know of the movie. I just never watched it.
It's incredible. It's one of my favorite movies of all
So
time.
I'm gonna go ahead and dabble in that.
Yep.
You definitely.
So now you understand why in Formula 1 when you guys go to race for the league,
right?
It's had different driving orders. Now, also what you didn't realize is that driving order you go to pick at is actually the same and it rotates every hour. So you could technically, if you wanted to, you could load up Formula 1 before the night starts and you can actually see what the driver lineup's going to be, and it'll be the same for like an hour, and then like you could load up the game in like 30 minutes later, and it could be the same lineup.
No way. That's
What?
kinda cool.
Yep.
That's lit.
There's some
It's
teams
like
that do
real
that.
time. Real time. That's fire.
Yep.
So you
Go
were
home
saying
and
how
time it. Go home
expensive
and
the
check it.
cars
Yeah, check it
were.
out.
You were saying how expensive the cars were.
Yep.
And then I realized that you said there's 4 or 5 different tires that they bring. How expensive are
So
these
the-
Or single tires.
So the tires
These
alone.
tires are like $30K.
So we're
Each.
gonna. So here's what
Each.
makes Formula One really cool, and it's similar to other driver series. The tires are actually provided by Pirelli. They don't.
Oh.
The teams technically don't pay. They pay some to Pirelli,
Right.
Mhm.
but it's not really calculated because every team gets the exact same tire compound.
Okay.
Okay, to make it even.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Tires are one of the few things that the teams share across the board.
I guess that would make a
So
lot of sense.
their prize possession is more of the car and then
Yes.
the engine that they.
Yes.
They
Yeah, that's what
use.
makes it a
Right.
constructor
So the tires
series.
all made by one person.
Yeah. So you
He's
guys
probably
are,
making
you
chicken
brought
though.
Right.
That dude's probably making
Oh, you
Yeah.
make it definitely
bread. 'Cause
bread.
If he's
Yeah.
the only one doing
So-
it, bro,
Come on,
what?
bro.
so you asked about like Le Mans.
God,
So
it's so cool.
So you're asking about Le Mans. So the reason why I bring this up is there's 2 different types of racing that's out there.
I know the 24-hour.
Well, so there's when I say that you have constructor series, constructor series
Mhm.
cars, and you have driver series cars. Constructor series cars are basically the manufacturer, like Ferrari or like Formula One.
Right.
They can customize the car in any way. Same with WEC, which is World Endurance Championship, which is like 24 hours of Le Mans, 12 hours of Sebring. The constructor themselves, like Porsche, Toyota, all of them, they can make the entire car, and then the drivers also compete in that as well.
Okay.
For World Endurance Championship, it's just most of the time it's just physically the team itself that they're competing for,
Mhm.
not necessarily individual drivers.
Okay.
Whereas Formula
okay.
One has both the drivers are competing and the constructors.
Oh.
On the opposite scale of that, you have like IndyCar and NASCAR, where the cars, almost all of the cars are identical.
I did know that.
So
I did
with
know that.
IndyCar, cars are almost completely identical. The
Wait.
only difference is they can run slightly different air packages and slightly different
Left
engine
turn.
tunes.
And a left turn.
Well, no, IndyCar you do race
Well,
like
I'm saying NASCAR.
yeah.
Left turn.
yeah NASCAR is. They did add a dirt
It's
track.
still
this year.
scary, though.
It's
Oh,
yes.
bro.
A dirt
Back in
track.
the
That's
day-
heat.
Yeah.
That's heat.
Yo, those trucks.
That's heat.
The Trexas one
Bro,
with the
those
3
trucks are
wheels.
Oh,
Crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
there's rally trucks that literally they drive on street circuits.
Are you talking
and
about the trophy trucks? Or are we
I-
talking about something else?
I can't remember
I don't
exactly
know
what they're
what
called,
they're
but they're
called. Okay,
racing
okay,
They're
trucks
scary,
that when they
bro.
go through a turn, they're loaded on 3 wheels.
Yeah, it's scary.
They're crazy cars. Yeah,
That-
it's
That's like the Baja 1000. Y'all heard of that?
it's so imagine
Is
a
it that?
imagine a Baja vehicle but on a street circuit.
Okay, that's dope.
Now, you
Oh,
see what I'm
that's
talking
dope.
about?
Yeah, yeah, I
And
got
so when
you.
they
I
go
was
through
like-
the turn, they're literally on 3 wheels for
Terrifying.
like a good
Yeah,
minute.
think about it, it's still top heavy.
and they have-
like,
Yeah, right.
And then they have ramps they go over to and everything. They have jumps and all.
230
Yeah,
miles an hour
it's crazy.
going on a.
Bruh.
Yep. And so then we kind of get into like going back to Formula One. So going back into
Right.
the race weekend, you get into you get into the Sunday. Sunday is the crazy day because it's the race day, but
Right.
it's also the most star-studded day. All the celebrities come out and they do the pit walk. So basically, about an hour before the race, the teams line up their cars on the start. They get their cars lined up on the start finish
Right.
straight in their positions, and then all the celebrities come out. Like you like LeBron James, Will Smith.
Right, right.
I mean, you could name a celebrity like Tom.
We're not
Tom
Tom
Brady,
Cruise?
Tom Cruise, Tom Brady,
Right.
Brad Pitt, Ryan Reynolds. I've seen on there before.
Have you met any of these people when you were there?
No,
Oh,
they're
man.
they're in like
It's
they're in a bubble.
I remember
Okay,
talking
that
to you
makes sense.
before. I said it's probably one of the best spots to go to meet all these.
Oh yeah,
Like, try to mingle.
These guys are like multi-millionaires.
Oh, yeah,
You gotta
exactly.
think about Rolex sponsors.
Right.
Them,
Oh,
all-
yeah, right.
Like it's just
all right.
crazy.
I have a
And before we talk about
Yeah.
celebrities and stuff like that, I'm not worried about the celebrities. I'm more worried about the marshals on the track,
Uh-huh.
the food, the water be all inclusive. Like,
yep. Food and water's included. Okay, so the
Okay,
food.
there we go.
The
You
food.
eat it.
Hang on, hang on.
You eat it.
The food last year wasn't very good. I gotta be honest.
Oh.
The food last year was pretty bad.
me a Chick-fil-A
But the
sandwich.
water, how they do water in Miami is really smart. They don't give out plastic water bottles.
Makes sense.
They give out aluminum water cans, like like the unnamed beer company that has the twist off aluminum can bottles or a beer.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say the brand,
Be-
Right,
but
right, right.
so they give you that same style aluminum can, and then for the fans, it's free water refill.
Why don't they just
So-
give you a Camelback and put?
Well,
I
no,
figured-
because then that's expensive for them to buy it, because then we get to keep it afterwards because we have all the germs on it.
right.
So they just give us
They're
a ton of
cheap.
aluminum.
They're
They-
cheap.
No.
They're multi-millionaires. They can't buy
Yeah,
the
but-
marshals that are sitting outside on the sidelines,
But
ready
there's-
to put
there's-
out a
there's a
fire and
couple-
protect,
there's
save
like-
these racers.
There's more than like 150 marshals on the track.
That's wild.
I mean, yeah.
because there's like 4 to 5 marshals per turn.
Hey, you know, it'd be nice if like one day they just surprise y'all and they're like, you get free Rolex.
Yeah, right.
Like at the end.
Yeah, right.
Like how that Saudi Arabia when they won that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
the Prince of
Yeah,
Saudi
no, yeah.
gifted all the players Rolls
That's
Royces.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying,
that'd be
bro,
crazy.
Yo, he has chicken.
Wait, what? Wait, how much is like the cheapest Rolex?
Oh, they're a couple
Rolex?
couple band, like
Like
couple
probably,
bands.
probably like
I-
2.
Yeah, 2 to 3.
Probably the
yeah,
cheapest.
cheapest, like 2 to 3
Yeah,
thousand.
like
Yeah.
2,500.
Yeah.
They come on.
Yeah.
Nah.
They
Alright.
can do it.
All right, so
I
we're talking
mean-
about
I
celebrities.
mean, it'll be like 2,500 bulk, like they're
Right,
buying
yeah.
each of them,
right,
and it all
right.
comes down
Yeah.
to be like
See,
fudging 150K.
you talk about like the celebrity status of these race car drivers. So last night, this is recorded on Tuesday, May 2nd.
Mhm.
Last night was the Met Gala. Daniel Ricciardo, which was a Formula One driver, this is his first year not racing.
Oh,
Do you know who Anna Hathaway is, right?
I know that name,
I
but I
know
don't.
that.
Why do
really
I know
famous
that name?
actress. She did like Interstellar.
Okay, there we
She's
go.
done a ton of movies. Anyway, Daniel Ricciardo was at the Met Gala last night, and she's like, "Oh my god, I'm such a big fan. Like I love watching you on Formula One. Like the fact
She's
that
geeking.
she's geeking
Yeah,
about a
she's
Formula
geeky.
One driver. Like, I'll throw the other one around. Do you know Lewis Hamilton actually owns part of the Denver Broncos?
What?
He's a so
That's
when
how
they
much
got
money they
That's
make,
so
bro.
random, bro.
That's how much
Like,
money
yeah.
they make, bro.
Yeah,
They make
exactly.
more
He's- how
money
much
than,
gonna invest?
athletes.
So they got bought out. The Denver Broncos got bought out by a couple years ago by a group, and he was part of that group. So he's
Oh.
a small minority owner of the Denver Broncos.
that's wild.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I just want to know
Um,
what goes into practice. I know they have those simulated
Dude,
simulations.
have you
where
seen
sit
their,
in
Yeah,
like-
so they've got
simulators.
full on. Yeah,
But
so
I wanna
Daniel
know how, like,
Ricciardo is a good example. Oh
big
yeah,
their forearms are.
no,
huge,
they
bro.
have.
Huge.
So they're actually physically they're very skinny people.
1,000%.
Yeah.
They're
They are.
super
they
skinny,
are.
but they are
Rips.
super dense. They have super dense muscles.
Yes.
Right.
So they're like they have machines that like they turn their necks, and it's like 4 Gs.
It's
No,
not-
It's-
it's
I
bro.
mean,
voice is crazy.
I can't.
yeah, if you and I as a normal person, we physically would not be able to do it.
Have you guys seen? You've probably seen the video of when they bring out like a news reporter and they put him in F1 car and like you're gonna be in the passenger seat.
And they go to break and their head goes.
Yeah, and they just like I saw him where the guy is just completely out and you hear the driver go, "You there?" I'm like,
Yep,
"Yep."
bro.
Yeah, at the Austrian circuit at the Red Bull Ring, they have a 2-seater Red Bull for a F1 car that they'll put people in, and every single time they literally the driver cannot the passenger like their heads like goes like from this, and they'll go to stop and it's like it's just like their neck goes down because there's so many G's and they go to brake.
Wait, can anybody go to that? You should go to that.
So sure, do you want to pay for my ticket to fly to Austria?
Come on, man, live the
Oh,
dream.
Oh yeah, but it's
Live
like
the
it's an
dream.
expensive thing to do. I
Wait,
would love to do it. At
How much are we talking? Like, are we talking like
couple $1,000s.
a couple
Austria?
thousand?
Yeah, a
Mm,
couple
yeah.
thousand.
Wait. Are we talking like plane ticket included?
No. No.
Just to get in the car.
Just to get in the car, it's a couple $1,000s. Then you
Oh,
need
I thought he was talking about the ticket to the
N-
plane.
No.
No.
Since you're a marshal, excuse me. Since you're a marshal,
Uh-huh.
are you going to sign up for Austria to see if they
Ooh,
even?
No,
you
I-
should. You should.
well, because then they don't pay for the plane ticket. I have to pay for
Oh.
my own plane ticket and my own hotel while I'm down there.
Ooh, oh no,
Wow,
that hurts.
that's- Okay, you know what?
You're a volunteer. Like
You
that's
still
the
think they'd
thing.
hook up like a hotel or something?
Well,
I
so
mean,
we
at
get
least
we
a
get a
hotel.
dis-
Plane
right,
ticket
come
is
on.
we
understandable,
get
I
a
get
you
that.
feel
we
what
get
I'm
a
saying?
discount on the hotel room. We
Okay.
get a discounted rate for the hotel room, and it's a pretty nice hotel.
like 25% off.
I don't know what the room cost. I think it's
Okay,
like
okay.
I don't know what the exact room cost. And I paid for my ticket like back in December. So
Right,
I don't really.
right.
I think I paid like a couple $100 for.
Oh, really?
I think I paid like I think it was less than $400 for like my 5 nights on there.
That actually makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
flying from here
Right.
to Miami isn't too bad.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
but we have like some of the marshals. Like these guys are like older and retired, and they'll
Mhm.
fly like for different ones. So like last year, my lead marshal, he's from Italy. Like
Really?
yeah, he like does like he does Le Mans. He
What?
Does, he's
That's
been a
cool.
marshal at Le
That's
Mans.
dope.
He has a really cool. He had a really cool suit for that one.
Oh, he gets to
keep
keep
your
it.
suit?
he
gets
got to keep
his-
his suit because he was a head marshal for
You
Le
keep your
Mans.
suit?
You don't get to.
No,
keep
I don't keep my suit. No.
What?
I will
Come on,
post.
bro.
I will make sure Lewis
Please send me
gets.
pictures, bro.
I will
need to
make
see
sure
this.
Lewis gets pictures of me in the suit from
They
last.
should
must-
like
has
let
to.
you
Yeah.
have the suit and the helmet.
So I
you
get to
can hang
keep-
them
so
up.
Right,
Crazy,
right.
The
like-
things,
Come on.
the things I get to keep, they give us. So I got 2
T-shirt.
of these T-shirts that actually says Marshall 2020. Yeah, it says
Yeah,
2022
it says,
Marshall.
yeah, okay,
It says
okay.
here, no one else can get like Miami International Autodrome. Like no one else has this shirt.
Right, so it's like
So
a
I
one
get
of a kind.
I get a one of a kind shirt. I get a backpack that says it.
Okay,
Um,
I'll give it that.
the-
Backpack's
the
nice.
backpack
The
with
backpack is
strings,
nice.
Yeah.
Or is it backpack like?
And so it's an actual backpack.
Okay,
It's
I'm
not.
about to
Wait,
say,
It's not the-
cheap.
It's not the craziest like quality backpack, but it's a backpack
Right,
with
right,
full
right.
straps and
Do
everything.
they have it to where like the straps come down and like it has like writing on it?
No, it doesn't have that. It's no. I know what you're talking about though.
F1 Miami.
And then
Oh my
that
god.
would be cool. But then I also here's the one I geek about. I get a bib. So this bib is like a clear mesh. I'll make sure he gets
Okay,
pictures
okay,
of it.
right.
You know what? I meant to bring it today and I forgot.
Man, that would have been tough.
And it says like F1 on it. It has like a number on it. So like it's like a barcode because the number on there means it's specifically tied to me.
Oh,
So if I'm
that's
caught,
tough, that's
I'm
tough.
caught doing something wrong, there's
Oh.
cameras around the track. They're like, oh, we know who it is. You can't come back.
Dang.
Yeah, they're serious about it.
Man.
Um,
Wait. One question.
Yep.
As a marshal,
Uh-huh.
have you ever seen something like crazy, like a car light
I
on
was gonna
fire?
ask that
Yeah,
Oh
I
wait,
just
so
forgot.
last year, I'll show you guys the video real quick. I saved it. So last year at Miami at turn 14, so going into that really tight uphill turn,
Right.
both Carlos Sainz and Esteban Ocon crashed into a concrete wall,
Ooh.
and they both experienced 49 Gs and 51 Gs respectively. A lot. And so I heard the crash.
Because
I
you were a little
then
ways away.
because I wasn't that far away. I
You were
really
at turn
was pretty-
16, right?
I was so it's literally like up the hill. It's when
Okay,
I say it's
okay.
like I literally walked up the hill a couple
yeah,
hundred
you
feet.
were like, okay.
I saved the post one. I got to go to Instagram and get my saved posts. Let's see. Here's the perspective now. Okay, so this is the turn.
Yo.
I'll make sure I'll send this to Lewis.
Wait,
but-
how fast were they?
they're probably going about 100, 150 in that. I think somewhere in that ballpark. But they hit that wall, got going really quickly. I
But they're
heard.
standing out though.
Yeah,
So
they
they're-
got-
okay, so
they-
they're fine.
But actually, so Esteban Ocon's car when he crashed there,
Mhm.
it damaged his chassis, which they really only bring like one or two chassis per event. So they
Right.
actually had to repair it, and he actually missed all of qualifying because they were repairing his car.
Dang.
So-
So he was dead last.
He started at B20. So like I heard the accident. I walked up the hill with my lead marshal, and he and I actually were talking about the accident, like what kind of proper things they're doing, what things they weren't doing correctly.
Right.
And I saw them do like the entire procedure. So I got to see the accident.
Mm-hmm.
And then during the W series, because like during a race weekend, it's not just the Formula One like cars that are on the track. So last year when I was there, it's the W series, which is the women's version of Formula One.
Oh, I didn't even know they. That's cool.
Yeah, so it's now called the Formula Academy, and it's all women that drive in it.
Huh.
And last year we were there, the W Series, and then they had a Porsche Sprint Cup, which is a bunch of Porsche GT3 Cup cars.
Right.
That you pay like $100,000 for a kit car, and then you could drive it on a track.
Oh wait, like anybody could.
Technically,
if you have $100 grand.
$100,000, you have to have a specific license.
Okay, makes sense.
That's why you need to get involved. You know,
Meet some
before
people,
the
mingle.
race
Hey,
starts, you need to
yeah.
be where the food is. Everybody's gathering
Yeah.
around.
She'd be
how
like,
you
"Hey,
doing?"
what's up?"
Shaking hands. My
Yeah,
name is
yeah,
this,
yeah,
that, and the third.
exactly.
These guys are multimillionaires, so you know what I'm saying.
Hey,
You
it
never know, be
just-
like, hey, you need like a right.
Yeah.
hand
Yeah,
guy?
you're like, hey man, you look like you got good work. You want to be on pit team? Imagine.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys
You'd be
like,
yes.
Yeah, of course.
well, it wouldn't be like it's really hard to get like on a team,
of course.
but
of
it's really
course.
cool.
Hey, be a water boy
and
for the
then
pit team, man.
During the W
They probably
Series,
make like 50K.
no, they
Water
get
boys?
paid. They get paid pretty decent.
The water boys?
1,000?
Oh, the water boy.
Yeah, we
I
talking
have-
water boy.
Oh, I have no clue.
Oh, okay,
I have no
okay.
clue.
I know that in the
No,
NBA
'cause
in the
honestly,
NBA,
like-
they get paid like 60K
honestly, like,
above average.
The
Really?
water,
Yeah.
like the quote unquote water boy, is a lot of times it's their personal trainer that's like getting the water
Gotcha,
for them.
gotcha.
So
That
that's their
that
personal
makes
trainer.
sense,
They're
man.
like all of that. Yeah, exactly. Which these guys also have super fast reflex timing, and they do it with their personal trainers. All of that. No, yeah. So you talking about the accident there? Okay,
Right,
so,
right.
And then during the W Series, a girl actually crashed right in front of us. So like, I had to help clean that up. I actually get to carry the wing.
Oh really?
Those wings.
Are they
even-
light?
So it was a W Series car, so it's a lot smaller than a Formula One car.
Okay.
But even so, like it was light. I was like, I picked up like that's it.
You're like, what the heck?
It was literally like imagine like a push broom.
Oh wow.
It was lighter than a push broom.
that light?
Yeah, it was.
Overhead presses.
Right. You're like light
you
work.
pick it up, it's like, is that it? And then they put it like on a flatbed truck, and then they take it to the pits.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really cool. The downsides like Miami versus like other tracks is when there's an accident, you're a lot of times because it's so narrow and you
Yeah.
have a concrete wall. There's not a lot of times there's not always a place to roll the car off. So they're gonna a lot of times they're gonna red flag the race.
It makes
So-
wait. Red flag or black
So-
flag?
Black flag basically means you're disqualified.
I said
Oh, okay,
yellow.
okay.
So you've got yellow flag, you've
It's like
got
caution.
red flag, and you've got black flag.
Okay. So
Those are your 3 main flags. There's another flag in there that we won't get into. Like
blue
all the-
flag for pass. Do they
Yeah,
have that?
Yep, blue flag is
Okay,
blue flag is a
okay.
passing.
He's
Yeah.
talking
They
about
also
go-karts.
and they
Yeah, I'm
also
saying.
there's also a meatball flag, and it's a black flag with an orange circle in it. And
Oh, I
basically that
definitely
means
haven't seen that.
so. Let's say for you guys, if we're racing on Formula 1 on the game and everything,
Right.
and you've got significant damage where like it's a detriment to the track,
Oh.
you can get that flag. I don't think you can get it in the game.
probably not. Yeah.
Unless you're doing a full race session, the game might give it to you.
Right.
And then you have to go in and your team has to pick it. So like maybe it's a damaged front wing
Mm.
that like is falling apart as you're using it,
Mm.
and it's putting carbon fiber chunks on the track.
That could break
The-
tires and things like that.
Exactly. So they're gonna
Yeah.
tell you to go in the pits, and then they're gonna like remove the wing and put on a new one.
Makes sense. Like force you to. They're like for
Yeah,
the for the
exactly.
safety of everyone.
Also, you don't want to go under. They're so low. You don't.
Yeah,
want
I'm
to
saying,
go
Exactly.
underneath,
catch
they'll
it.
pick you
Yep.
up.
Right.
Exactly. Well, no, won't. This carbon fiber is so sensitive that. It's exactly. It'd break before the cars would really ramp
Right.
themselves.
But it was
Okay.
still, it was still damage the bottom of the car.
Yes. It'll a lot of times be the car behind you that gets more damage.
Okay,
a lot more
okay.
often,
I-
or the tires get damaged.
I've
really
seen
easily.
some cars take flight, but not in F1.
So actually, there was an accident last year. One car took flight, and that hadn't happened in a while. Because they try to really bring up the safety.
right.
And so one of the cars in England last year, he flipped over, and then he literally rode like in the game now. You guys see that halo, that ring that's around the driver.
yeah.
So that's called the halo.
Wait, they added that. It
Yep.
was, they made it a change because it was a safety thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I
So the
remember- I
idea
remember
is
that.
you can literally put like a 2 double-decker like London buses you see. You could put that on top of the halo, and it's not going to do anything.
Man.
And they're really strict about like
You have
every
to have
car is going to have like almost identical halos
Mhm.
because of like
Safety.
all the safety and everything.
Mhm.
And like there's been a couple crashes the last couple years that if there weren't halos, the drivers would have died.
Mm.
So last year, one of the drivers, like I said, he flipped over. He literally
Skidded.
skidded on the top. His car then hit gravel and then flipped over there's like a rubber barrier. So like
Flipped
different
over it.
yeah. So there's
Jeez.
different tire barriers. Like different tracks have different barriers.
Right.
This was in England where they have like a tire barrier.
Mm.
It went over that tire barrier in between into the fence, so he actually wedged his car in there. It was one of the worst It was the worst accident since the one that caught on fire a couple years back.
But he lived.
Yeah, he was
Okay,
perfect.
okay, good,
He
good.
had like minor injuries. Like he was almost like unhurt.
That's crazy.
Like he literally didn't even, like I don't even think he got a concussion from it. Like it was just all of the safety, and he just happened to flip at like the right speed,
Right.
and it was all these factors, and he just was stuck. He couldn't get out of the car.
But
Thankfully, the
imagine
car
if-
didn't.
I was gonna say,
Thankfully, the car didn't catch on fire, and there's a lot of safety precautions for a car to not catch on fire as well.
Right. They go a
Um,
lot into it.
Exactly. There's a lot of factors that can kind of go into it. So that was a terrible accident, and that's a good example. Like I use that turn now as an example because the other thing that happens from year to year is the teams will change tracks as well in the race. So like for that one, there was a gravel pit that he hit, and that's why he flipped. This year they've changed it now to all asphalt. So
Oh, okay.
so there's different
Help out.
changes exactly that they'll make for safety reasons
Makes
like that.
sense.
So that could be a reason like some of these tracks like from year to year in the game will change is because they've changed in real life.
That's pretty good.
they
That's
really
cool.
break down
That's
and
cool.
analyze what
Yeah.
happened. This is what we have to do.
Yeah, we have to make the
Exactly.
change.
And they are really good about that kind of thing. So then like I said, we'll go back to race. We'll talk about a race real quick. And then we'll kind of move
The
on to the
race
next topic.
day.
Exactly. I know we keep squirreling, which is fine.
We
So-
jump off.
Give
back
so-
and forth.
more-
Yep. So we'll go into the race day. Obviously, after the pit walk, these teams are gonna do their formation lap,
Right.
and then they're gonna race. And like I said, so when they do a race, it's actually done by distance. It's not done. That's why different tracks have different lap numbers. It's based on a specific race. I think it's 100 kilometers is what it
Okay.
is. And so the idea is you do. I think I can't remember the actual race distance now, but they do a specific distance,
Mm.
which is why like a track like Miami might have like 67 laps.
Oh,
whereas, like-
got it.
Whereas
got it.
like Silverstone, which is a longer track, might be only 45.
right.
So
that
that's-
makes a lot of sense.
That's why you'll get different.
Why are their laps so long? Like, what's
Um,
the reasoning for that?
So it really comes down to design, but also keep in mind some of these tracks like Miami and Las Vegas are our two newest tracks. I mean, Miami was designed 2 years ago. built last year.
Man.
And you have tracks like you brought up Spa, which is your
Right.
favorite track to race on.
Spa's nice.
Spa's a really old track. That in Silverstone and Monaco, all three of those tracks were built in like the 50s. Modern layout was redone in like maybe the 70s, but since then they really have only gone through minor changes since the 70s and 80s.
Makes sense.
So that's why you're gonna get different track layouts the way you are in different lengths. Because like Silverstone was built on an Air Force base, whereas Miami, half it's a parking lot.
That's wild, dude.
So, and one of the other factors you had asked about,
What?
yeah, during the rest of the year, it's basically a parking lot. But what makes Miami a little bit different than they have a term called street circuits, and then you have track circuits.
Oh wait. There's one map where it's like you're going in between buildings. It's
there's several. Oh,
there's like one map specifically I'm thinking about. It's like you start off going straight left.
Oh, you go underneath something.
It's literally like
That's
under
Yas
a
Marina,
bridge.
which is in it's Abu Dhabi.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah, so that's actually a hotel that you go underneath as a
Oh,
hotel.
really?
Yeah, you
Dude,
can.
could you imagine being in a hotel?
Yeah, you can do that.
It's probably so expensive.
It is.
I know.
But
that.
you
I
can
mean-
also get in if you like know somebody. You can get in that area and just like I've seen pictures of photographers and filmographers like be up there.
Oh, just
filming
take shots.
Exactly.
Right.
But yeah, so you have different. So that's considered like technically it's a street circuit, even though
Right.
it's a full track. Actually, no, that is considered a track circuit. But Miami is considered a street circuit because the roads part of the year, like where the accident was,
Right.
is actually right by an interpass entrance. Like after at the end of the night, those roads actually get opened up.
Huh. Wow.
But the
That's
actual
wild.
the asphalt that you actually see on race day is a special compound that they use.
I was
It's a
wondering,
different
like-
type of asphalt, so it's not it's not the same compound you and I drive on here in Virginia.
Of course.
It's going to be a higher race quality.
Mhm.
Last year they actually had issues at the track and it kind of degraded in not an intended way. It didn't fully set and that's why it happened. They redid the surface a lot earlier this year to make sure that wasn't an issue.
It kind of reminds me of the Raiders football field that they like halved it with the baseball field.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Think of it. Yeah, exactly. That's a great.
Multi-use.
That's a
you know?
great example of what kind of things can happen with it. And so that's why they consider Turn Miami a street track.
Right.
But they said the track they drive on is actually a very different surface.
Yeah, it's not just a road.
But you would also ask about the stickiness. And so one of the things you'll see, and this is why I recommend like watching it this weekend, if you watch the track on Friday, it's going to race differently on Sunday. Because what happens is as they're breaking in the race weekend, the racing line they follow becomes more and more worn, and it becomes an ideal racing path. If you're a track circuit where it's been raced on for years and years and years,
right.
they have a very ideal line on them. Whereas like Miami,
It
with it being a new,
forms.
it forms over the weekend.
That's pretty
so
cool.
it changes.
Mm.
So it becomes almost like a dynamic map that happens
Right.
too. So that's another factor that can affect like throughout the race weekend a race evolving.
Huh.
So yeah, and that's what you asked about like the stickiness and everything. So that's
Right.
where that kind of
Right.
topic comes into things as well. So like, one of the other topics we have is like we were just talking about different circuits. So your favorite track is Spa, which is actually one of the oldest, and it's honestly one of my favorite tracks. It's a really cool track.
It's just when you see the clips of them go,
Yep.
that's like
Yes.
the best. The sparks flying.
So the coolest thing about older tracks like Spa is that turn is called En Rouge.
En Rouge.
A lot of older tracks, every turn has a name.
Oh, that's kind of
So like if you ever watch Silverstone, every turn you see on there,
So it's not
and-
just like 1, 2. It
yeah,
actually has, like, a
they're going to
cool
be
name.
like Cops Corner is one.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
That's Cops Corner is one of the ones in Silverstone, or En Rouge is the one that's where it's uphill and it's a long arc curve.
Right. Yeah.
That's En Rouge and Spa. There's different
Right.
turns for, and it's mainly the very older tracks. Or Monaco, almost every single turn in Monaco has a name.
I do not like Monaco.
I'm glad you brought that up. How do you feel about Monaco? And I will elaborate.
I actually have a very like a real point on why I don't like it.
I don't really have an opinion because
right.
I've raced on it once, but
But
it's
yeah,
kinda
you-
newer.
yeah,
so,
right,
so you
right.
understand why Monaco sucks.
Yeah, there's no overtakes.
Exactly.
I mean, there's one.
That's
It's
how-
like,
As
oh my
a
God.
That's
fan
what you were saying yesterday.
perspective, it also is a terrible track because
Yeah.
there's no overtakes. It really comes down to qualifying.
Right.
If you
exactly.
qualify high, if you qualify P1, unless your team has a race strategy, you're going to win the race.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing with like F1 in Miami for the league. That should be a track we don't want to see because you're going to crash really quickly, and then it's like,
Oh.
again, what's the point?
Right.
So the next thing I have on here. So we talked about the tracks. As far as when you guys practice at home, do you guys have a racing wheel you guys use? Are you guys controller people? Like, how do you guys practice when you're at home?
You know, I've always wanted to get a wheel.
Okay.
You know,
Same.
I've always
So
wanted
bad.
to.
Yeah.
But I just
Yeah.
You haven't made the
controller.
investment.
You gotta think about it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a lot of room for the race wheel to be up there.
That's
O-
true.
on the-
That's
on-
So
true.
there's
in the
not
arena.
a rule against bringing your own wheel.
There
though.
I
is
know,
it. There
but
is
like
it.
you still gotta have those foot pedals. The
So-
It's a lot of
wheels.
that would
So
like
if I was
increase
Herb,
setup time.
if I was Herb, I would if I had a truck like Herb, I'd actually bring my racing sim in because I have it on wheels. I have a full racing rig at
Okay.
home.
Like you're sitting
that's-
down, like
Yeah, no, it's
okay, well,
it's
that's
a,
dope.
it's a
That's
car seat that I'll make sure Lewis gets this picture as well. So it's literally like a lay down seat. It's actually. Do you know what a Subaru BRZ is?
Yeah, of course.
That's actually what I used to drive.
Man, I like that car.
It's a fun car. So I went to the junkyard and it was a wrecked one. So I took the driver's seat out of it.
And just slapped it
And
in
I
there.
put it in my racing seat.
That's
so I
dope.
sit in a BRZ seat, and then I've got the pedals are on an incline. I've got a wheel, I've got a
Right,
shifter,
right.
I've got an actual manual shifter as well.
That
And then over time, I plan on upgrading the pedals and the steering wheel to be more force sensitive and stuff like that.
now is your race setup stationary or does it move?
I don't like
No,
the moving.
that's-
The moving's
that's-
a little.
that's a lot of
Some people-
money.
Some
Yeah.
people really have those in the
I
house.
would
I've
want
tried
it.
them.
I would want it, but that's a lot of money to
Oh,
put into
I've
it.
tried it. It
actually
feels
wanted to
weird.
Go into a professional.
You have to
simulator.
be like a professional setup, like these Formula One teams do.
That's
They
what
have-
I'm
Right,
saying.
right,
They're
right, right.
really
They're
crazy.
They're
Yeah.
Same
because
G-force and everything.
I use like
Well,
a
it's
cheap
like
one.
it's not gonna be the ones they're not gonna fully simulate G forces. It's gonna simulate how the car goes through turn.
Like how it
so-
shifts.
Yeah. So one of the tracks, and this is one you guys should honestly try out at home or when you guys are practicing. And
Right.
It might be a good surprise in the league. And this is gonna be kind of like I'm gonna give this one as an Easter egg. If the guys are watching, this is the track you should try. Try Zandvoort.
Zandvoort.
Zandvoort is
Where is that?
that's
track?
the Netherlands. That's the Dutch
Oh,
track.
Netherlands.
That's Max Verstappen's home. Actually, like his house is only like an hour, not even an hour from there.
That's wild.
Even though he lives in Monaco now, like he's from that area
Right.
though. That has the steepest bank turn on the grid. So it literally it's a slow turn, but when you go to do it, you're actually at an angle like this.
Oh wait.
It's really
I think
really
I know this track you're
yeah,
talking
it's
about.
got a
It has
really-
a lot of like. Is it the last turn where it's a huge like berm, pretty much that
yeah,
you take
basically,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, I know what track you're talking
Yeah,
about.
there's only one. There's like two tracks with that much of a steep grade. It's a short steep grade.
Yeah. It's not
And-
terrible,
But so like that's what when you have a simulator, you're gonna feel that kind of system.
Yeah,
Like,
the
you're gonna
shift.
feel that the whole simulator will turn a lot more on that because that's like a steep. I think it's like a 25-degree angle or something like that. It's a crazy steep edge for cars.
I'm gonna try it out.
So yeah, try Zandvoort. That's a track that I
Zandvoort,
never see anyone
Netherlands.
try in the league.
it's a pretty hard track.
It is.
It's pretty hard.
But here's the thing: if you're good at the hard tracks,
You're good at all of them.
you're good at all of them.
That's facts.
Or if you win RPS and then you pick the hard track, someone's gonna be like, I see everyone pick Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Everyone
I
picks
don't
it.
love that track.
Exactly.
I have the record on that game,
But-
by the way.
But the thing is, like, if you know like a track like Zandvoort,
Right.
or I know
1 in 6 seconds.
Hey.
the bots. Oh man,
What-
Scants on the bots.
Yeah.
He likes Coda.
Coda.
That's Circuit of the America, which is Austin, Texas. He likes
Okay.
that one, which also is the same one. You can actually pick that same track in. That's another track. you should learn.
MotoGP.
You can
that
pick that one in
yeah.
MotoGP.
Top 3 hardest tracks, in
Hardest.
your opinion, so you can get
Technically,
good
it says China's a hard one, but
Yeah, that
Wow.
is a hard one. I don't know, cause like it really depends on your skill. Like I know really well, like Australia. That's a track I've done. a lot of practice
isn't there
on.
one in Japan?
There is.
I hate
They
that track.
added that.
It's
That
so
was the
tight.
one they added back into the track on the game in F1 2022. That's a good track. I like it.
That one's.
It's
rough.
also one of the only tracks you actually cross back over the track. Like you actually go underneath at one point.
that,
Then you
that
go
is
back
cool.
over like a figure eight. It's really cool. It's a really cool concept.
That might be hard.
That's a fun one. I'm very partial to actually racing on Miami because when you're there in person and I've ridden on the track, like not in like one of the really cool cars, like I'm on a bus,
Hey,
but
it
I-
counts. It counts.
but I've been on that track enough, and and when you see it in person,
Mhm.
it makes the perspective of driving it so different.
Right.
Like I've been on the track
Like
more
how
than
big the track is and things
it's
like that.
more like I can sit here and close my eyes and I can see 95% of the track.
Right. Well, it makes sense. I mean, you volunteered how many times?
So last year was the first year, so this will be my second time going.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd been there like
but
20 times. or
well, no,
something.
because the last year was the very first year of Miami.
Okay.
But
Oh wow.
it
yeah.
still helps because I don't just go around the track once in a weekend. I have to go around the track multiple times. Like every morning we get on the bus, like we're on the track. like,
Right.
I'm walking the track. Like I've been in parts of the track where you as a bystander literally can never go. Like
Makes
last year
sense.
where I was in turn 16, turns like 14 to 16 was all right next to the highway. And it's all grass next to the track, so there was no fans where we're at. You
That's
guys as
cool.
spectators would never be in that area.
Right.
So like I'm in areas you guys will never see.
Well, it makes sense. You can't get distracted by fans when you try to help somebody that's on
Well,
fire.
it's more like there's literally no area to put fans in that area because it's
Right.
basically downhill. Then you have like I was not 50 feet from the highway, was directly behind me. Like
That's
an
wild.
active highway was behind me. There were active roads above me, which if you actually go back and watch the broadcast,
Mm.
when they show helicopters above where I was at, you can see the armored vehicles and the snipers. They
Mm.
put snipers up on those roads. They close them
didn't
off
even
during the
know.
race. Yeah, it's security.
Wow.
It's like
No, just
it's like the presidential
It's a
motorcade
tranquilizer.
going
right,
through.
right. Like
It's not a tranquilizer. It's not a tranquilizer.
Yeah,
Dude,
his
like,
face.
hell no.
He said
I
no.
would think like if I was just like trotting around,
Yeah.
hopefully I don't get shot in my dome.
No, it's more like
I'd rather get tranquilized and go to sleep.
because you're on
than
a
die.
highway. Someone could, if they really wanted to, they could take a car and they could barge onto the track
That is true.
via
That is true.
via like a car,
And then kill somebody.
kill someone, kill multiple people,
Yeah.
kill themselves.
Mm.
So it's like they block off the road so people can't drive onto like that because
Mm.
during the race they have all the bridges. And the other aspect was last year they had photographers that were up there on top of the thing, and they're not allowed up there because it's an open public road that they need special
Mm.
permits for.
Right.
So they're like, you can't be up here during a race session because it gave them really cool perspective above the car.
right. Like an overhead shot.
And so they were like, hey, look, this is not like a permitted area to be in. Like, don't do it again, kind of thing.
Makes
So it's also like making sure, or like I had one guy that actually walked onto it like from the street, like trying to like walk onto the track. Like, these guys, people pay a lot of money to go to this event.
Of course. Yeah.
So they're like trying to get in for free.
yeah.
Or they be like in an area where they're not supposed to be and they're like illegal spectators.
Mm.
And that was another factor, like, hey, look, you can't be here. This is police like getting them off
Why
the property.
risk that?
I know, that's
Why
wild.
Well, so a lot of
Fine,
times,
like-
like the cops aren't gonna like citate them, but they're gonna be like, hey, look, like, so I'll continue with turn 16.
Right.
There's actually the race weekend replay. There's a video of a cop holding a phone, taking a picture. I actually watched the cop do that.
Oh.
And he's basically when you're on Miami and you go to make that turn 16, you go underneath the tunnel.
Right.
That's the lowest overpass that's there.
oh.
And
okay.
so right there, there's a grassy berm hill that people like could walk from the highway, like, and then like walk up that hill and then watch the track.
You're not supposed to though.
You're not supposed to because it's not public land.
Mm.
So like
Very
you'll see
trespassing.
a lot of times like in like Baku, like the roads, like people are walking, they can go spectate it. But like there at Miami, they're a lot more particular, like who can see it. And also Formula One they're really good about like controlling who and who can't take videos on the track. If you're an official, if you're not a photographer or a videographer, you cannot be taking video or pictures there. So like as a marshal, I technically don't have any pictures of like an actual like any of the F1 cars like during the
Right.
F1 session. They're very strict. The FIA is very strict about that kind of stuff. The Porsche Cup they're not as strict about, but the W Series they are because they're controlled
Right.
by F1.
You don't want to get banned for being a marshal.
Exactly. It's honestly one of the coolest things to do, and it's very slept on, but it gives me a very inside perspective.
I was
as well.
thinking that you were in a helmet, you could just stick a GoPro.
Imagine.
No, that'd be
That
cool.
would be
That
so
would
cool.
be cool.
POV?
That'd be
cool.
really cool POV. And then okay, so going back to the league itself,
Right.
what are some changes you guys want to see in the league with like the racing games in general? Maybe Formula One, maybe other racing games, like actual rule changes, stuff like that.
I'd say the main thing, and I've said this ever since Wreckfest was on the wheel, like
Uh-huh.
I love a game. I love like crashing and stuff like that.
Yep.
But I also like the racing factor of
Yes.
it. It's like it's fun to have a strategy where you just go and like try to destroy people, but at the same time it's like it doesn't really show that much skill. Let's be honest,
Yeah,
right? You know what I
exactly.
mean? It doesn't really show that much skill. And actually everybody in the league a rule actually got changed because of me.
Uh-huh.
In Wreckfest, the way they used to have
course.
it was to make sure that you don't just get smashed 24/7. If you broke and got to a low speed and reset, it would reset you.
Uh-huh.
That's the way the default game is meant to be. But they changed the rule because I literally made the bus strat non-existent. Like you couldn't use it against me
Uh-huh.
because like I just reset and just drive past you. Because I mean,
Yeah,
That-
there's
I
now a
wanna
timer
race.
that you have to reset on.
yeah,
now.
yeah. So now they put a timer on it because
Yeah.
of me.
Yeah, which is fair. Which
That's
is
why they
smart,
did it.
Which is smart.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see personally, like, I want to see them actually take collision off of Formula One. You can make it as ghost mode where the cars
Right.
can't collide,
Right.
and it's purely up to the driver's skill.
I would enjoy to see that because like I've gotten cheesed out so many times in
Yeah.
racing games. Like
I have
so
no
many
problem with that
times.
game. Keep the game how it is.
Oh, whatever, bruh.
Yeah.
If they want to
Whatever.
crash
It
me, they want to try
honestly-
to play bully ball. I'm gonna play bully ball back, and he's gonna right into the wall.
It shows the skill like that.
Right.
It would
1000%.
actually
Mhm.
show it's not just surviving. Like you'd have to think about like how the wheel works now, like and how
Right.
your lineups work. You'd have to actually think about your lineup now.
Yeah.
If you roll Formula One, you can't just throw anyone on there. You have to have someone like you, Dre,
Right.
who knows
How to play.
actually race, or like with you just knowing exactly how to race.
Right.
Whereas like you can't just throw. Chicken Tech's a good race driver for them.
But like just your
Yeah.
random, let's say sports player.
yeah,
You know,
can't have like I don't know. Let's use
let's use DZ.
yeah.
I like
Let's
Or-
use a
or
person
Doom,
that has.
or Doom.
Doom's a good example.
Let's
Doom's
use-
Doom's a great example.
Doom's good.
Star because he crashed first turn.
Exactly.
foul.
So like that's
I
a
got the road record.
yeah. So I mean like that's the thing is like you could have a sports player that gets thrown in
Right.
and they win because
They wrecked him or
they
brake
didn't. Well,
checked him.
they were able to avoid the turn one collision, and then the person who's actually a good driver, an AI hit them.
True.
So it's like one of those like, hey, look, that'd be kind of a cool format.
See, that's why I love MotoGP because like
It actually has to drive
I
skill.
can't get cheesed out. If you're good, you're good.
Did you see Friday night? It was who was doing that? Oh my
Was it
god!
Were you playing Friday? No, you played Sunday.
No, you guys played Sunday. It was
Played Sunday,
it was on Friday night. I can't remember who it was now. He put it in first person perspective.
Oh, I was hearing about that.
Did you
Mhm.
see that?
I didn't get to see it.
I don't know why. We can't figure out why.
Bucks. It was the Bucks.
Was it the Bucks and the Ghosts when they were
Bucks
no
and Ghosts.
no Bucks and
It was like what's his name? It was he's the bald guy, white guy. What's
Oh, I'm
his name? I
sitting
know
here
it was the Bucks. I just can't
But he
think
put
of
in-
his name.
We'll
But
say new guy. New guy.
it was a new
guy,
it was
yeah,
it was one of the
new guy,
rookies.
yeah.
He put in first person perspective and for whatever reason he didn't crash.
Hey,
None of us like as a commentators, none of us could figure out why, but it worked.
I mean, fair enough.
And so like you're gonna bring these new strategies into the league. So like I think like with Formula One, if you change up the no crashing, it means you actually have to practice the game.
Right. That is very valid.
And I think
because people aren't really people. Why would you take it seriously when you just brake check somebody?
exactly.
You know, it's
Yeah.
like
I heard a lot
No
of people
point.
change their camera into first person
Yep.
in F1
And so the other thing you can do, and this is something we talk, I want to like
because you see the walls better.
yeah.
you can see the walls better and you get a little bit better perspective, but you can also see, and I was talking to this yesterday when you were practicing, is there's
the signs on
the
the
braking the
side.
brake signs.
Yeah.
And they tell you, they denominate like how far away you should be braking. Like,
150, 50, 100.
yep. So I was talking with DMV yesterday, and it's basically how
Mhm.
it's denoted is if the 150 mark is when you should be braking on the hard tire, at the
Oh,
100
got
at the
it.
100 denomination is when you should be braking on the medium tire, and 50 is when you should be braking on the
Soft.
soft tire.
Mm.
And so it's denominating when you should be braking.
Mm.
Most people don't know that one.
Makes sense.
The other one that like I was talking to you about it yesterday
Left,
was
right, left.
the different aero packages you can set up in the game. So you can have a more let's say we're in Miami
Mhm.
and it's a little bit more of a like you need a little more downforce because of the turns. You can adjust the presets and have a little bit more downforce, not necessarily full top speed. So you can adjust that. So
Okay.
So if you look, there's when you go to load in the games, like it'll pop up like default preset,
Mhm.
and it'll say like your default aero package,
Okay.
and you could change it for like more downforce, maximum downforce,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
more
yeah.
top speed.
I just do the default.
Which, if you know the track, you should honestly start tweaking it.
Yeah.
Because the
yeah.
other thing you can do in the game is you can